So I have an admission to make. Over spring break, I got a chance to watch a movie or two. It's pretty seldom that I get to watch a movie or two. We have three young children, and so watching movies is not something I spend a lot of time doing. But with spring break, we had a little time off, so I was going to go through some of the Oscar movies. I have an admission. I wanted to like Birdman. I really wanted to like Birdman. I really love Michael Keaton, and I love Zach Galifianakis, but I did not like Birdman. In fact, I turned Birdman off. Here's why. I found Birdman impossible to follow. The plot jumped from place to place, from character to character. It was really difficult for me to figure out what each character's motivations were. The directorial style was also confusing, with this assemblage of jump cuts and tracking shots that followed characters for minutes on end without any sort of editorial break in the action. The second reason is I found the dialogue impossibly dense and difficult to follow. It was kind of this unnaturalistic style that made itself more muscular and verbose than it really needed to be. Perhaps I've just gotten soft in my old age and I just want to see a movie that's a little more straightforward than Birdman. Nevertheless, I didn't like Birdman. And it could be because of the old age, or it could be because I think that Oscar voters wouldn't know a great movie if it drove up in their driveway and knocked on their front door. Why do I tell you this? Not because I think you should care about how I felt about Birdman. You shouldn't. I'm not a movie critic. I know next to nothing about movies. And I don't have time for them anyway because of all the aforementioned children that I just talked to you about. Instead, what I want to show you is model a kind of style of argument that I hope that we can use both to learn in these next two lectures for this week, as well as incorporate in the next two speeches that you're about to give in this class. In some sense, each of the next two speeches that you're about to give, your division speech, where your community is arguing about a particular controversy, and your action speech, where you adopt one side of that argument and endorse it for 7 to 9 minutes in front of your audience. Each of those speeches is specifically about arguments. And to that end, each of these speeches is going to be about you making an argument, you answering an argument, and you analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of arguments, as well as you incorporating outside evidence research that you've done about your controversy and about your action within your controversy into your speeches. And so it all boils down to this basic question of, what is an argument? What is an argument that's best made in this class, and how do I want you to make these arguments? What I want you to do is, in a sense, to model my silly example at the top about Birdman, which is to think about a complete argument as the claim, the overall argument or conclusion that you want your audience to accept. Mine was, I didn't like the movie Birdman. And then the evidence that you're using, I gave two pieces of evidence. They were sort of analytical pieces of evidence that I found the conversational style difficult to follow and unnaturalistic. And I found the movie itself to be difficult to follow, jumping from character to character, place to place, etc. And then finally, the explanation of why I think that information, that data, that evidence supports that claim, and why the audience should support that claim. So in a nutshell, and we'll go through this in these next two lectures, I think of a complete argument as three things: a claim, followed by evidence, followed by an explanation.